Gene, I wanted to start off by asking you, your new record is quite different from your old ones. What is it that has changed in the group to make this so different?
Well, why do you think it's different? That's what I'm curious about.
I have only heard it once yesterday. It seems more quiet, more mature.
Well, I don't know.
As if you're more interested in the words and in the message and just in...
Well, we had some things to say this time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we didn't have things to say all these other times, but I think songs like Naked City really talk about the kind of city that we live in, and we have different perspectives, different viewpoints, I think. But also, what you have to consider is that you can be Kiss for 15 albums, and then every once in a while you do something different. And I think people will like it. I think that the only criteria we ever use when we sit down to do an album is to record the best songs that we have right then and there. And so the only you want me to hold this?
No, yes, fine.
Sure. And the only thing that we considered when we sat down was which were the best songs. That was it. We didn't think about the kind of songs they were, if they were fast or slow or loud. None of that was very important. It was just the best songs that we had. So what you hear is what we are like now.
How long did it actually take you to cut this album?
About 2.5 months. 2.5 months of actually recording, when most of the albums took about 3 weeks to a month and a half.
Now, there's this new style in music. Does that also mean that you're going to have a new style in your concert presentations?
I'm not so sure that it's a new style in music. I mean, I know that that's the way you hear it, but there's nothing new in the instruments that we're playing or the way we're playing them. The songs may be a little bit different. In other words, we're still playing guitars. Mm-hmm. Gene Simmons is not all of a sudden playing organ or something. But no, this is just, some more new songs. When we recorded Beth, which was a violin-laden kind of song, or when we did Hard Luck Woman, which had a lot of acoustic guitars, or other songs, they were different songs, but they were still Kiss songs. And that didn't affect the stage show, except that I hope we can take this show to Europe, but in the American show, crazy things happen. Ace's guitar flies out of his hands, and another guitar appears in his hands, and he shoots it out of the sky, and I fly up 60 feet into the air at 6 feet a second, and land on top of the light truss, which is 60 feet overhead, and throw up on people's heads, and there's fire breathing, and the whole drum riser goes up 30 feet into the air and turns around 300. Have you seen the show in America?
Yeah, I've seen it in Montreal.
Yeah. So it's a pretty good show, I think. I think maybe it's the best show.
It probably is the best show around. Certainly it's the best rock show I have ever seen. Do you ever get a feeling that people come to see you more for the sake of the show than for the sake of the music?
Sure. I think that, and I think that that's good, because I think when you buy a Kiss record, you only get the music. So whoever thinks that people are buying our records just because we play well live is missing the point. When you buy a Kiss record, you don't get any flash pods. The record doesn't levitate above the machine. There's nothing extra that you get except maybe some presents that we give you, that we pay for, like posters or special things, maybe a special designed record sleeve or something special, but that we pay for. So you get nothing except the songs. So we take it for granted that people that buy the albums like the songs. When you see a band live, you should get 50% more than you get with an album. In other words, I don't just want to go see a band play their songs, because I can stay home and just listen to the record. I hope that people come to see us live to see us more. Of course, you can always hear the record at home. In fact, I would imagine that there are some people who never buy the records who have to see the show live, because it's the best show around, of course.
Do you think that that's the reason you're number one, that you really give more show than anybody else, that you really give them something for their money? I think
that may be true. I think also the only people that can answer why we're so popular are the people that make us popular. You have to ask them, why do you like Kiss? I can only tell you that it's my favorite band because it's the one that's the most fun. Nobody ever takes themselves too seriously. It's just a lot of fun. It's amazing to be able to walk into a toy store and see all these amazing toys, pinball machines. And did you see that machine?
Oh, yes.
It's amazing. I'm having the time of my life.
Yes, I'm sure. I certainly have that impression that as a rock group there are more sort of extra things growing up about your group than about any other group that I can think of.
In fact, we're even talking now about having a Kiss World, which is a traveling amusement park that would travel
really?
across
What
the country.
What would that be like?
Oh, you know, amazing rides, just fireworks and big air balloons, 100-foot balloons that go up into the air and take people for rides, and roller coasters, and just anything that we can imagine that would involve the personalities of the band. And we're thinking of having an entranceway with these big 50-foot faces all forming together with the mouths open, and you walk through the mouth, you know, into the amusement park. But this is all in the future. And then, of course, there are the movies. We're planning two movies. There's a German company that's working with us on doing a cartoon show for America. It's just beginning.
A cartoon where you would be the main characters, but you would appear in them as cartoons.
Right, superhero cartoons.
And what would the other movie be? You said 2 movies.
There's a science fiction movie with us as superheroes, you know, through space and through time and all the rest of that. And then there's a kind of a movie that would follow us through Europe, and we'd bring along cameras. It would be about 2 girls who follow us all across Europe, trying to get pictures of us without our makeup. And in the meantime, there's intrigue and spies and all the rest of that.
I see. You also just talked before we started the interview about some robots you're going to introduce in your show. Could you just tell me something about that?
Sure. There's so many things that are being worked on right now. It's a little bit hard to say, well, we'll do this and we'll do that. And anybody that's ever seen all our shows knows that every show is different completely. The costume change and the songs change, and of course the show changes. But right now we're working on these puppets who are about 3.5 to 4 feet tall, that are completely automized. In other words, we can control them from off stage in the same way that you in the same way that you can control those automatic planes that go through the air, you know, same kind of process. And these talk and walk, and they can play drums and play guitars. And maybe we'll have these little people, little Kiss puppets, go up on stage, play one song, and then get off the stage, and then have the real guys, you know, 4 times as big, come out.
Fine, just hang on a second. I unfortunately have tape. I think it seems to.
You know, it's funny in Europe. Everybody uses
very, very fast. I just have to turn it down. I think. What does people use in Europe? How long is your European tour going to last?
Well, you know, we always get new pieces of paper every other week, but right now we've got a European tour that lasts about 6.5 weeks. And then we come back to America for a week's rest, and then we go to Australia and Japan and New Zealand and Singapore, and I don't even know where else. And then we come back to America to do an American tour, and then we do the next album in the spring. Not this spring, next spring.
So there's been no new album until next spring at all?
There may be a Peter Criss solo album before then.
I suppose the obvious question is to ask you, why did Peter leave?
There's nothing too complicated about that. Peter, you know, has gotten remarried. He's got a beautiful wife who's the copper-tone girl, you know, the suntan girl. So all over America there are these 50-foot posters of her, you know, kind of leaning sideways, advertising suntan lotion. But he's very happy, and he just doesn't want to tour. He doesn't want to go out and tour anymore. He wants to stay home and make little Peter Crisses with little drum sets, you know. And we have to respect that. We all grew up, we worked together for this one concept. Everybody created it, and we have to respect his wishes. And we had a choice. The choice was to quit, you know, to break the band up because one member didn't want to tour, or to continue the concept. And we all sat down and talked about it with Peter, and Peter agreed that we should go on. Now, Peter's going to remain a member in the partnership. Nobody was fired, nobody quit. He's going to remain a member in the partnership, and he's going to record solo albums, and I don't think he wants to tour. And we're going to get a new member with a new concept, new design.
Has the new member been chosen?
Yes.
But you're not going to say?
Not yet.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. You talked about this, that you give more to your audience, and what we were really wanted very much to find out was why is it that somehow you, more than any other group, has become not just a musical group, but almost an institution, a religion, a cult for millions and millions of people? What is this sort of specific fantasy world that you think you've built up, if it is a fantasy world?
I think you can answer it very simply. I think you can answer it with one word: fun. What I mean by that is you can... the reason we put out toys and the reason we get involved with that is because it's fun. I like toys. I don't do it for you or for anybody else. I want a pinball machine. So if I see a lunchbox, I like lunchboxes, and I want my face on them. We try to make everything that we do fun, from the stage show to the albums. When you buy the album, we really spend a lot of time and money in trying to make them as interesting looking as possible. And anything that we do, we try to have a good time with. I think, I mean, it's the reason Superman or Santa Claus or any one of these big heroes are popular. It's because they're fun, because they don't tell you how to wear your hair, who to vote for, what kind of religion you should have. A performer shouldn't tell you that. And we never try to tell anybody what to do.
But yet you have been banned in a few places for, they say devil worshipping or some other silly things like that. How do you feel about that?
It's unfortunate, but I think these people are misguided. It's a shame that they can't spend their time and their energy and their money on something more important, like getting food to poor people. I mean, that's far more important. The amount of money that they spend on making sure that everybody thought that we were devil worshippers, they could help some people out. So I feel sorry for them. It's unfortunate. But it's nothing new. Beatle records were burned. Elvis was the devil, you know. That's okay.
Do you feel, you don't feel at all that you're leading children astray, or you don't think there's any background to that kind of accusation? I mean, I don't feel so either.
To where? I mean, leading them to
they say, well, you know, to lead them to devil worshipping, or and they say all this blood and gore and so on, it's going to have a very negative effect on them.
I think if anybody's going to have an objection about the ban, I think you can simply turn on the television and then tell me which is gorier. You never saw anybody in Kiss beat anybody up. And we never tell you to do any one of those things. It's not what we're about. But I think anything that we will do, we're going to do for shocking purposes. You know, we'll do almost anything to make the show interesting. But look, whenever anything gets popular, there are people who have nothing better to do with their time than to assault it. It doesn't mean, even Christmas, you know, even with Christmas time, you've got a person in American literature, in English literature, whose name is Ebenezer Scrooge. Mm-hmm. And all he does is he says how terrible it is that everybody's having such a good time. Yeah. But the truth is there's only one person having a bad time. So that's what our new album cover is about. There's always one idiot out there, you know, who can't figure out why all the people are having a good time, but he's rotten. Oh, they're terrible, you know.
Do you feel by and large you have been treated fairly by the press, or
of course. No matter, even the press that hates us, well, most press hate us, realize that you can't avoid us, and so they always print pictures of us and spell our name right. So I don't care what anybody says about us, as long as you print the pictures and spell our name right. That's fine. People will always decide what they like, no matter what anybody tells them.
That's true. What do you think, if you say you're not trying to tell anybody anything in your songs, but do they have some kind of message anyway that you would like to get across, or is it just let's all have fun, or is there something more?
There are no messages. What is the message in circus, when you go to see a circus? Mm-hmm. There are no messages. Hopefully it's entertaining, but nobody's telling you to do anything. When somebody does a somersault, or when somebody breathes fire, there's no message. The only purpose is to entertain you. So, you know, the song titles that we've got are not leading. It doesn't say destroy the world. It doesn't say go do this or go do that. They're very simple kinds of songs that talk about what it's like to live in New York City, a girl who's very European, you know, in her...
It's about a girl you hope to meet, I gather.
We will meet them. They're out there.
Yes, I know they are. Okay, for the moment, to ask a question. What is it you would like to ask, Gene?
Why do you have makeup?